Rudy Giuliani can kiss the Palm Beach condo he's been hiding from Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss and their $148 million judgment goodbye, based on a new ruling today in front of Judge Lyman, a federal judge appointed by Donald Trump, no less, who found Rudy Giuliani in contempt of court and, more to the point, is sanctioning him by making adverse rulings against him about when he acquired and when he registered that Palm Beach condo and whether he's entitled to Florida debtor protection over it. Once that's stripped away, that $3.5 million condo adjacent to Mar-a-Lago is on its way to pay off Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss for the horrible lives they've been handed because of Rudy Giuliani. I'm Michael Popok. You're on the MeidasTouch Network and in Legal AF, and I'm here to report to you about the two-day hearing. I did some reporting already about this from Friday's hearing. Two-day hearing, Rudy Giuliani testified. Let me split it in half. Judge Lyman was less concerned about the turnover of property that Rudy Giuliani was slow-footed in doing. He wasn't like turning over the title to the car, just the keys. He wasn't turning over the title or the shares to the co-op in New York worth $4 or $5 million. Just the keys, just all sorts of crazy things. But the judge was less concerned about like where the Joe DiMaggio signed jersey is. What really got him upset, what really got him fired up was Rudy Giuliani's refusal to participate in good faith in discovery, turning over documents and information about the whereabouts of his assets, when he acquired them, and all the other things that we need in a level playing field in order to sort out all of the assets of Rudy Giuliani to be turned over to Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss because they're the judgment creditor. That ship has sailed already for Rudy Giuliani. He lost his $148 million judgment. He's got a federal judge in New York enforcing the judgment under New York creditors' rights law, right? He's got Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss as the trustees of their own matter going after him with their lawyers to collect. He's lost a lot of items already, and now the fight is over. For instance, this Mar-a-Lago condo. $3.5 million, $4 million. I call it Mar-a-Lago adjacent. It's in Palm Beach County. And he has argued, Rudy had argued forever that, you can't get that from me. It's homestead protected under Florida's unique homestead law, which is a debtor protection law, which puts a ring fence around a primary residence, no matter how much is invested in there, no matter how much equity is in there, against a creditor's judgment. It's why a lot of deadbeats go to Florida and buy houses, because they can protect it from their creditors. But the date that he registered there is important, because if it was after the judgment came out in favor of Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, and it was recorded, then he gets no homestead protection. So he's needed to argue that there was a date certain before the judgment when he properly registered his residency as resident in Florida. The problem is there was all sorts of competing evidence that he was trying to be a resident in Rhode Island like the day before. And so what the judge has just declared is, I'm not even going to sort this out. You screwed yourself because you refused in a preposterous conduct way. This is the judge, not me, Mr. Giuliani, who knows better. You should know better. You were once a lawyer, even though you're no longer a lawyer, and you've played games in other courts with discovery obligations and got burned because of it, like in the very underlying case that led to the $148 million judgment. He got sanctioned about 9 or 10 times from Judge Beryl Howell in the D.C. court for doing the exact same darn thing. And the judge said, enough. You didn't turn over the documents when you should have. I'm now going to make what we refer to in the law as an adverse inference. And it's sort of what it sounds like. I'm going to assume, don't give me any more documents. You can hold your documents. You can continue to hide your documents. Even though he quoted Neil Gorsuch when he was a 10th Circuit judge, which said discovery is not a shell game where you just move things around and try to exhaust everybody's resources, hoping that you'd run out the clock. He said, keep your documents. But I, as the trier of fact, as the judge in the black robe, I'm going to make an adverse inference that whatever you're hiding was not helpful to you. In other words, on the date that you're supposed to be a resident in Florida in order to keep that condo, I'm going to assume that if you had any documents, you would have already produced them willingly and quickly. You haven't. I'm going to assume that they were against you. And so now when he's weighing the balance, right, the scale, which is only more likely than not, yeah, That's all you got to get to in civil case. We're not in a criminal matter. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. It's a preponderance of the evidence. It's just a feather on a equally balanced scale. It's all you need. 51% sometimes we call it. It's actually less than that. It's like 50.1%, if you will. I'm going to assume that you don't have any evidence that supports your argument that you were properly made a Florida resident before the judgment was recorded. And once that's done, as Joe Camarata, the lawyer, the third lawyer, or fourth lawyer, I think, for Rudy Giuliani, declared in court, that's the death penalty for the case. It's the death penalty on the issue, economic death penalty, because with that adverse inference in their hand, in their favor, Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss's lawyers are now going to put on their evidence showing that he was registering to live in Rhode Island a couple of days earlier, and that he doesn't have any other indicia on any other dates that show that he established residency and therefore had that house declared as a homestead in Florida to protect it from a creditor's reach before the judgment was recorded. And therefore, all the evidence will be on the Ruby Freeman Shay Moss side of the scale, right? So that'll be like way down here. And Rudy won't have anything because of the adverse inference. Game over. I want to tell you about one of my favorite brands in the entire health and wellness world, Qualia. I've never felt better lately, in part because of the Qualia's products I'm using regularly. Qualia's science team is tackling some of the most challenging aspects of health and wellness that we all face. Human longevity to optimizing mental health. Qualia's health formulas meticulously blend many ingredients with complementary relationships into easy once-a-day formulas. This makes supporting some of our most nutritionally complex health needs very simple. Qualia conducts pilot studies and double-blind placebo-controlled clinical studies on many of their products, all while keeping each formula vegan, non-GMO, gluten-free, and backed by a 100-day refund guarantee. I encourage you to check out their rapidly expanding product line of supplements that support so many common health needs. One of my personal go-tos is Qualia's Senolytic, a clinically tested formula that helps the body naturally eliminate senescent cells so you can age better. These senescent cells cause the symptoms of aging such as aches and discomfort, slow workout recoveries, sluggish mental and physical energy associated with that, middle-age feeling. Take a look at Qualia's line of truly inspired health formulas. Go to qualialife.com/legalaf and use code legalaf at checkout for up to 15% off your purchase. That's QUALIA life.com/legalaf for 15% off your purchase. Thank you, Qualia, for sponsoring this episode. And so that hearing hasn't happened yet, but it's coming in January. And my prediction is what I've said all along. I said he was going to do an adverse inference. One of the other reasons you do an adverse inference is the judge is running out of punishment that's meaningful for Rudy Giuliani. What's the punishment? He has no money, so you can't fine him. You could put him in jail, but that just makes him a martyr. So now he's been found in contempt. Now, let's put a comma after that, not a period. This is not the last time Rudy Giuliani is likely to be found in contempt over the next 4 days. Because come the 10th, listen to this, on the 10th of January, while Donald Trump's busy being sentenced, Rudy's going to be in another whole entirely new courtroom before that very same Beryl Howell, who presided over the actual jury verdict that rendered the $148 million judgment against him, because he's in contempt of court there. He's in contempt of court with her. So he just got found in contempt, which is going to be, of course, cited, same lawyers for Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. Same case, different judge. They're going to cite, Judge Lyman just sanctioned him for contempt and playing games. Now, Beryl Howell already knows about all the games because she found him in default when she defaulted him for failure to turn over documents and comply with court orders and being in contempt. That's how he got to the $148 million. It was born out of his contempt and his default actions. So now he's back in front of her on the winds of no wind in your sail, on the winds of this, on the issue of whether he breached a consent decree, another type of judicial order, because he continued to bash Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss in November after he signed an agreement that he would no longer do that in order to avoid continuing to be sued by them. He did it anyway. He was like running out of gas and steam on his podcast that nobody listens to. And he started bashing them again and saying they committed fraud in the voting in 2020, which we all know they didn't. And it's been proven that they didn't and completely debunked. So now he's got to face Beryl Howell, I guess with the same lawyer. I don't know, Joe Camarata or somebody else they can find in the District of Columbia. We'll follow it all. These many, many levels of insanity on full display with Rudy Giuliani. At the end of the day, Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss are going to get, if my calculations are right, they're going to get about $10 or $12 million worth of real estate. I think free and clear. They're going to get, if I had to project all of this other stuff, maybe another $150,000 worth of other stuff, right? So now you're going to have maybe 10-1, 12-1 of stuff against a $150 million judgment running with interest. And they're going to go after Rudy Giuliani until he's dead on all his podcast money and book money and revenue money and any other way. Try crowdfunding, sourcing, whatever they can do. And just to let you know, Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss's lawyers aren't taking a dime. They're doing this pro bono. They're not doing a contingency fee, 30, 40% going to them. They're doing it at the goodness of their heart and as a profession. And I that warms the cockles of my heart. Appreciate you guys at Wilkie Farr and Gallagher. Thank you for doing that, taking on that kind of case in the public interest and helping out mother-daughter team Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss and help them net in their pockets as much as possible. I'm Michael Popok. You're on Legal AF and on the MeidasTouch Network. Take a minute, hit the subscribe button for MeidasTouch. Follow us on Legal AF, that old OG podcast, top 8 in the world, at the intersection of law and politics. Wednesdays, Karen Freeman, Ignifilo, and me. Saturdays, my co-founder, Ben Meiselas, and me. Got a new show, Popok Live, Tuesday nights here on the MeidasTouch Network, right? I take questions. I give answers. I don't take any prisoners. It's unfiltered. Popok, 45 minutes or so, Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time here on the YouTube channel for MeidasTouch. Now we got a brand new, spanking new, kick the tires new Legal AF YouTube channel. Legal AF MTN for MeidasTouch Network. Help us get to 500,000 in the first 6 months of our existence. It's a testament to you. I curate the channel and I bring it to you straight, unfiltered, no smoke, no sunshine. Legal AF, the YouTube channel. So until my next Legal AF reporting, I'm Michael Popok. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories, the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.